Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar, Mining Through Uncertainty, How Smart Operations Can Thrive Now and in the Future. Thank you for joining us. My name is Neil Correa, and I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager at Wenco, and I'll be your host and moderator today. Now, before we get started with the presentation, let's review some quick housekeeping items so you know how to participate today. Please feel free to send us any and all questions you have throughout the presentation. You can submit your questions in the control panel in the upper right-hand corner. If you cannot see it, it may be minimized or collapsed. To expand, click the orange arrow button to view more options. Simply type in a question and press send. For the questions we don't get to today, we will email the answers shortly. We also do issue continuing education certificates for everyone who attends today's session. This webinar qualifies in most jurisdictions for 1 hour technical and formal. Certificates will be emailed soon. You can check your local guidelines if you are unsure of the requirements. It is now my pleasure to introduce our feature panelists today. We have our Director of Technical Services, Warwick de Villiers, and Principal Product Manager, Patrick Ligthart, joining us. They will discuss how mines can use these uncertain times to drive operational change that raises productivity, efficiency, and profitability, while also laying the groundwork for innovations set to transform the industry in years to come. Warwick and Patrick, given your experience, what is your view on the current state and challenges faced in the mining industry, and where do you think the risk and opportunities are?
Thanks, Neil. And also thanks for everyone in attendance today. Listen, I think the interesting observation must be made that not all mining operations are adversely affected by COVID. There are actually a few operations that have seen record production and safety levels. It is testimony that you can mine yourselves through these uncertain times. I think that if you look closely at these organizations, is that they have the capability to adapt to major deviations from their normal operations. That's not only due to their robust internal processes and available capital, but in almost all cases, the organizations have recently made significant investments in their infrastructure and operational technologies that enables these improvements to be made even in these uncertain times. It's a great example of how people and process unlock technology to add value. I believe that COVID will present an opportunity for organizations to look inside. Opportunities exist now to review your current technology, digitization, and visualization strategies and test them against the current outlook, your company objectives, and how adaptable your strategies are to global changes. Does it change how you view supportability and sustainability? Does that become more important now? Are you considering changes to your technology roadmap and strategy to suit a more open and interoperable system so that you become less reliant on a single vendor that might be based in a single country? I would be very keen to understand and start discussions with our customers and future customers if they already started to update their technology requirements for future technology investments. Feel free to use the chat box to make any comments or ask any questions, or contact Wenco representative after the webinar. I hand it over to Warwick if he has got any other additional comments.
Thanks, Patrick. And as Patrick mentioned, it's beyond obvious that by now to say the world has changed in the past 6 months, and the mining industry has been affected. Many mines have struggled to operate effectively or profitability this year, with several commodity values plummeting, and in some cases, some commodity prices have skyrocketed. For example, gold. Many operations saw some of their critical resources trapped abroad due to travel restrictions, and resources who remained on site had to quickly adopt and implement new operating procedures and possibly only focus on critical areas. Travel and shipment restrictions, well, they have also disrupted supply chains and technical support, which have yet again created other issues. Now, as we are slowly returning to the new normal, uncertainty will still prevail, and this will influence the global economy. However, even though the situation may seem dire, it is important to remember that every crisis comes with opportunities. I keep asking myself the same question daily. How and why are mines making decisions now? Not just to stay profitable for the next few months, but to truly thrive in the uncertain future. And then how can Wenco's products and services complement and support these decisions or strategies? One of the major opportunities for mines is to understand and interpret their data. By understanding their data, they're able to make informed decisions. In the past year, Wenco have also needed to assess our own strengths and weaknesses and how we are able to be agile and adapt our own internal model, structure and processes to support our customers. Later on in the webinar, I'll touch on some of these changes which Wenco have implemented to see how we can offer sustainable support during these challenging times. Over to you, Patrick.
Okay, thanks, Warwick. So I want to use some of the webinar time to go through some use cases that we wanted to bring to your attention from some of our customers. And starting with an example out of Musselbrook in New South Wales, Australia. It's a smaller operation with a strategy on focusing a rapid rate of return. They mine coal in the Hunter Valley, as I said, in New South Wales, Australia. Back in 2019, they were struggling to capture accurate data that was able to answer the questions that they had. A paper-based tracking system was still in use at the site, with all the challenges that come with it. Missing loads, equipment, or even shifts. There were additional overheads where we're taking up 10% of a mining engineer's time, and they still weren't able to produce the answers they were looking for. Wenco won the tender for providing the fleet management system. In this case, our Wenco Light solution. It offered the best rate of return against some very specific parameters that the site had. They needed a system that didn't involve a lot of upkeep and overhead, but at the same time, they didn't want an especially stripped down production recording system. They needed a solution with more granular data and richer reporting capabilities. Most importantly, they needed a solution that works and paid for itself quickly. So with 23 pieces of equipment installed, the first thing they addressed with their newly found data treasure trove was their payloads. Wenco Light gave them the real-time feedback on their payloads, bucket by bucket, which enabled them to reduce the variability in their loading practices, and as a result, increase average payload by up to 5 tons. The increased situational and operational awareness enabled by Wenco Light allowed Musselbrook to target another operational loss, hanging queue. The extent of the hanging queue was previously a guess at best with the paper tracking system, but increased awareness enabled more productive shuttle truck allocation, which resulted in a reduction of wait times by about 10%. Together, those improvements were responsible for a couple $1 million in saving in the system's first year for a fraction of the price. You know, any site's currently running a paper-based system. This is a great example of how even the most basic digital system we can make a focus on the right priorities. Yes, I know these figures I've seen at Musselbrook might not apply to your operation, but I'm sure there's a comparable rate of return available for any site. Asking the right questions of your data is key to finding those priority areas to drive targets and improvements. I know it's cliche, we heard it all the time, but it remains true. But you can't control what you don't measure. Wenco thrives to support our customers by unlocking one of your biggest assets, your operational data. Please make sure that if you've got any questions, leave it in the chat window or contact us afterwards. Okay, let's go on to the next example. Something different, but something very close to my heart as a mining engineer. Ore body efficiency and operational safety. Wenco is working with a small gold site in southern Peru that commissions its systems back in 2019. Since then, they've been focused on 2 primary goals: improving ore body efficiency by reducing ore dilution and increasing equipment utilization. Using the Wenco fleet management system and its integrated high precision product bench manager, the site successfully decreased its dilution percentage from 4.6 to roughly about 3.2% That's a massive 30% improvement. I'm not aware of the average grade at this mine, but at today's gold prices, this ore body efficiency improvement surely must have generated significant value, not only now, but if sustained for the remainder of life of mine. And I almost forgot to mention that this improvement was combined with an increase of equipment utilization from 68 to about 80%. But the good news story doesn't end there. COVID happened. Suddenly, site was facing a major hurdle. It didn't have enough operators to put bums on seats and maintain production. They were going to have to park the trucks up and significantly reduce productivity. Despite challenging these uncertain times, they were able to recognize the value that Wenco's PitNav solution could bring. After upskilling unexperienced new personnel on the use of HME equipment, it was Wenco PitNav that enabled a rapid integration into existing crews and allowed for production levels to be sustained. PitNav is Wenco's turn-by-turn navigation product, similar to the one you might have in your car or on your phone. It provides an audiovisual guide for operators as they travel between loading, dumps, fuels, workshop locations around your mine site. Increased situational awareness can have a massive contribution on your operational safety goals. Wenco PitNav is integrated with the Wenco display and does not require any additional hardware to deploy. So we checked in with these guys and throughout 2020, they've actually been able to upkeep the utilization numbers that they had and maintain their production level, which is really impressive. Which touches on another critical aspect when we're seeking to make improvements. We need to make sure that we allow them to be sustained improvements. Our Mining Center of Excellence, which Warwick has referred to before, supported by our intuitive products, can work with you to identify the opportunities that present themselves, and work with you on the people and process aspect of sustained operational and safety improvements, which are enabled by Wenco technologies. Okay, let's take a second to digest. Remember to copy your questions. Neil, how am I doing for time?
Yep, we're doing good.
Okay. Now let's scale up a notch with our next use case. Villiers. Villiers is the first ranked gold mining company in Russia, and it's in the top 5 globally with 2.8 million ounces produced in 2019. It's actually been a long-time customer of Wenco and have our FMS systems installed on 4 of their mines, covering more than 250 pieces of equipment at their Olympiada mine alone. So our solutions do scale. For sites like Villiers Olympiada, the answer currently is very clear. Produce as much ore as you can before prices shift. The cost of solutions that help to do that hardly factor in, since even in a slight increase in production right now means millions of dollars of additional profit. Wenco FMS installed at Villiers mines is reinforced with Bench Manager, the machine guidance products for drills and loading units. In addition, it has a fuel monitoring system, tire pressure, and temperature monitoring system. Villiers is also using the Wenco dispatching service module, which is aimed at optimizing the mine fleet, its activity schedules to increase average truck speeds and payloads, where fuel and time monitoring technologies assist with improved fuel consumption and tire usage. Safety is still paramount. Villiers has a specific requirement for personnel tracking within our fleet management products. Together with the customer, we've developed a solution that allows for increased level of safety and awareness, but as a flow-on effect, it has enabled an optimization of their blast delays. The system, developed for use on mobile devices, allows for a Wenco fleet management system to track and communicate with all people on site. It makes clearing a blasting zone and maintaining blast safety much easier to manage, and therefore the delay is shortened. There are many more use cases for tracking location of mine personnel. Please contact your Wenco representative for more details on our product offering. Yeah, let's talk current developments that drive innovation, which can be quite effective in some certain times. You know, looking back at history, step changes were made in technology advances during the global wars, during the Cold War, the nuclear arms, and the space races. Right? Much of the current research and development focus boils down to engineering solutions that reduce uncertainty. In our cases, it's whether that is enabling short interval control processes to improve decision making, or removing human variability from the equation by developing autonomous solutions. For an example, we're working with a bauxite mine in Western Africa to institute an ISA 95-based interoperable workflow that supports sites' short interval control process. I won't go into the detail of ISA 95, but it allows for a system for data exchange between systems in your landscape. FMS data plays a crucial role in short interval control and value chain optimization. Selecting solutions in your system that support ISO 95 standards allows you to connect your system landscape and allow them to exchange data. A value case would be enabling a real-time inventory system or identifying ore body performance issues in real time by being able to track material back to its in-situ block location throughout your value chain. We are also actively pursuing our open autonomy strategy to reduce human variability, not just in haulage, but throughout the whole enterprise. The open autonomy approach is based on an open standard that enables customers to go beyond closed stack systems and use equipment and tools from multiple vendors, which extend automation beyond haulage into auxiliary vehicles and other departments within an operation. I don't want to steal too much away from our upcoming webinar on automation, so please make sure that you follow us on LinkedIn and keep track of when the next webinar is scheduled. But I do want to highlight one specific use case. We are working with a site in Australia to integrate an autonomous truck from Scania, it's about an 80-ton truck, into customer operations using a range of third-party systems. This system, in this case, with Scania, it has the opportunity to open up new mining strategies, potentially has the opportunity to open up additional deposits and selective mining and swarming mining practices. That's enough talking for me. I just wanted to check in with Neil. If we have any questions, we'll answer them, or we go back over to Warwick.
Thanks, Patrick. Just a reminder, please keep submitting your questions. We've had some good ones come in already. We'll do that during the Q&A period. And Warwick, take it away.
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, so thanks, Patrick. Thanks for all the insight into what you see in the mining industry and the type of solutions that are being implemented. And now you might be thinking, what has changed in the past 6 months? And you're right. The lockdowns and travel restrictions as a result of COVID have affected the delivery and support of systems and technology globally. However, one thing, Wenco have always offered remote system upgrades over our customers' network, which has allowed us to remove significant downtime associated with system updates. But since March, Wenco have been engaging more than ever with our customers. And based on their feedback, we've rolled out a series of protocols and processes and changes we're calling frictionless deployments to address the challenges that many mines are facing today. We've been extending our global support capability with in-country service partners, and now have a broad reach of partners available to provide services in many locations. And we're continuing to vet and sign up more partners all the time. As a customer or potential customer, you'll have access to all these partners and the associated benefits. A key requirement for this was the development and implementation of simplified global standards. And by utilizing various communication platforms and technology, we're now able to guide site personnel through installations remotely. These changes have significantly assisted in knowledge transfer and upskilling, thus ensuring our solutions and support are sustainable globally, no matter where your mine site is. This year, we've also launched our new Centre of Excellence, which Patrick mentioned. It consists of a team of mining and technology professionals who are available to extend solutions with a range of services focusing on your specific issues, focusing on delivering value in use of our products. Ultimately, we're able to handle all these situations at Wenco. An important takeaway is not to let the current situation give false impressions that no support is available during the lockdown and quarantine period we're experiencing. If you look at our global network and footprint, we have partners that we're able to offer sustainable deployments, services, and support across 5 continents, either having people on site or working remotely with your staff. Since March this year, we have successfully deployed multiple solutions. Some of these include, for example, in Australia, we have multiple project implementations underway through our partner, Hitachi Construction Machinery Australia. Our partner offers first level support for hardware and software, while the second level support and product development is offered directly by Wenco in country. In the USA recently, we've just completed a project where the hardware installations were completed with a combination of Wenco and partner resources, while the remote software deployment was completed remotely by a combination of Wenco Africa and USA resources. The next one is Indonesia. We have a new project underway there where our software deployment will be done remotely by Wenco Australia, but all the hardware installation and infrastructure deployment will be done in country by our partner Hexindo. In-country project coordination will also be facilitated between Wenco, our partner, and our customer. So what to do today? This is something you might be thinking. Obviously, implementing a new system is a mid to long-term undertaking. And the question remains, what can be done now? The first step for any operation right now is to clearly identify your top 2 or 3 challenges. Maybe there are issues with access to qualified people, interpreting your actionable data, or you're facing constraints with your crusher throughput. In any operation, there are a couple of make or break opportunities, and your best chance for thriving comes down to getting them right. Well, right now, the global health economic situation are still highly volatile and hard to predict. We're seeing some mines function more effectively at the moment by concentrating on targeted short-term priorities. Some have even made strategic investments in technology, which are delivering a return of investment in months, not years. This could be the appropriate time to at least revisit your plans for your loading and hauling and how they relate to open autonomy. My advice would be that any solutions you're considering now to handle your current challenges need to take into account for the technological shift that's coming in the next year or 2. And if you would like to find out more regarding how Wenco can assist, feel free to contact us.
Thanks for the insights. A few housekeeping items before we move to Q&A. Please stay connected with Wenco Mine. You can follow us on social media. We're always providing daily industry updates via LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This webinar will be recorded and distributed soon, so please keep an eye out and share it with your colleagues. You can always learn more about Wenco on our website at wencomine.com, or you can contact us via email at info@wencomine.com. We would appreciate any and all feedback, so please let us know what you thought of today's webinar by filling out the survey at the end of this session. We've had some good questions come in so far. You'll still have the ability to submit your questions utilizing the chat option in the control panel in the upper right-hand corner. If you cannot see it, it may be minimized or collapsed. To expand, click the orange arrow button To view more options, simply type in the question and press send. For the questions we don't get to today, we will email the answers shortly. We will now move to the Q&A period with Warwick and Patrick standing by. Looks like the first one is for you, Warwick. This question comes from Rajesh. What have some mines actually done in the past 6 to 12 months?
Thanks, Neil, and thanks for the question, Rajesh. I mean, I can't comment on what our suppliers have done, but I can comment what Wenco have done with our customers. In particular, our Centre of Excellence has already been successful in conducting remote audits and baseline analysis on many mines globally. We've done it for some mines in Alaska, USA, Canada, and even recently 2 mines in Africa. And we also have some interested parties in this service in Russia and Kazakhstan. Regarding hardware and software deployments, in addition to the examples I provided earlier, under our new model, we've also rolled out sites in many other countries. In Alaska specifically, with the travel restriction with COVID, we delivered end-user training via e-learning and MS Teams, and we also partnered with an in-country partner to offer face-to-face training and to ensure the solution is sustainable and adopted on the mine. In Chile, we've also got a partner in the region who was able to assist with the hardware installations, but the software we deployed via our South American Wenco office. In Russia, it's a vast landscape. We were experiencing issues with hardware turnaround time. So what we've done, we've set up a hardware repair center via a partner, and this ensures the availability of spares and faster turnaround time in the region.
Thanks, Warwick. The next question comes from Richard. I've been looking at fleet management systems to improve our effectiveness and reporting. FMS solutions from Wenco, CAT, and Modular, etc., seem to require a large investment upfront and can be very expensive and complex. Are there alternatives in the market? What have you seen? My mine needs quick ROI.
Okay, I think Patrick, I'll take this one as well. I think, as you've seen, there are always alternatives to the generic solutions in the market. I would suggest one thing: engage with your shortlisted solution providers. I cannot talk for the others, but Wenco will send a team to work with you to understand your exact requirements and your needs. And based on these, we'll make recommendations and provide possible solutions, highlighting the pros and cons of each and what value can be derived. This will then give you the information so you can make an informed decision. A simplified solution now may give you the ability to upgrade later and may address your initial requirements. And as mentioned, if you want to find out more, please contact us.
Thanks, guys. There's some really good questions coming in, so please do keep sending them in. Okay, we have a follow-up from Richard. How does the Wenco system control for misdirected loads?
I'll take that question, Neil. So the Wenco system captures all deviations from the normal configured operation. So, for example, if a truck operator deviates from its intentioned route to its destination, an exception is generated. When an operator dumps at the wrong location, an exception is generated. Customers can configure what happens to these exceptions in a number of ways, up to alarming and pop-up alarms. And this allows us to a dispatcher or a supervisor to really be notified of any misdirected loads and take action right there and then, or turn that into a report style function where they can have this discussion with either the dispatcher or the operator of the truck in question that does not bring the load where it's intended to go. Richard, I hope that answers your question. If you need more detail, please reach out through the chat window or through a Wenco representative.
Okay, Arif asks, once I'm actually getting the results you're suggesting, how can you ensure they are sustained going forward?
Okay, I'll take that one. I mean, sustained change is only achieved through effective change management, upskilling and monitoring, and understanding and reporting progress and improvements is key. If you look at Wenco customers, they all have access to our e-learning portal, which we have developed, which we load with all our latest training material. And this can be used to upskill your current as well as your new staff. Each course assesses knowledge and can be assigned to employees, and you can track these as a customer. Our Centre of Excellence team is also available to assist either with once-off audits, data analysis, helping you interpret your data, or for regular ongoing reviews. So you can have a once-off visit, or we can have multiple visits throughout the year, every 3 months, to track progress, to make sure the change has been adopted and you get sustainable benefits. Our objective is to ensure our customers get value from their investment in Wenco.
Thanks, Warwick. Lots of good questions coming in, so please keep submitting. Jackie asks, if I don't have a partner or Wenco office in my area, how is support provided?
Patrick, I think I'll take this one.
Yeah, that's yours, mate.
Yeah, I've touched on it a few times before. It has been a challenge in the last couple of months, and we've seen that the travel restrictions have actually created major headaches for people. But as I said, it created opportunity. We continue developing and evolving our support model and our processes. And as mentioned, all Wenco software can be supported and deployed remotely. But for hardware and infrastructure support, what have we done? So we've developed the e-learning courses, some easy to understand guides and templates. We were able to guide a local contractor, or even guide your own staff through the process around installation and troubleshooting steps. So by doing this, we think that we are able to offer a sustainable support level. And we've had a lot of positive feedback from our current clients.
Okay, the next one is from Michael, and he's asking, do you have any value examples for ReadyLine?
I think we can answer. I'll do the first part. I actually have a global specialist working with ReadyLine at the moment with me, and we are actively looking at value in use of ReadyLine with regards to setting up the virtual alarms and how they can be used to actually identify potential areas of improvement. What we have found with ReadyLine, the biggest challenge is once you have the information, it's actually getting customers to adopt the change, work with the data, understand the data. By doing that, we've been able to save one mine, a couple of engines at the moment, by understanding where their turbo pressure has been exceptional. The turbo pressure and temperature are increasing. We pull the truck, and from there we identify that if the truck continued, the potential could have been an engine failure. Thanks, Tom.
Patrick, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, there's some additional use cases that I've been involved with is in relation to tracking costs and linking fuel costs to instantaneous fuel burn rates. And I've seen dashboards produced by an operation that uses Wenco ReadyLine that generates a fuel cost by hour of the shift, really, and to keep track of their costs. So a very intuitive way of using the Wenco ReadyLine data and visualize that. So.
Okay, David asks, what system that you are using to interpret and analyze the data, and can the data produced integrated with another application like Microsoft Power BI or Tableau? And about the data accuracy, how many % can you guarantee to your customer? Thanks.
Okay, I'll take that question. So Wenco database is a SQL database. We offer a reporting solution that replicates the operational database. So customers can use that reporting instance for their operational reporting. Additionally, there is a data warehouse product, visualization product called Avoca, which is a data warehouse where we aggregated the data, we sliced and diced the data in a number of dimensions, and currently it has a Tableau front end, but we're working towards making that accessible towards other visualization tools such as Power BI. There's nothing stopping a customer currently at the moment link that Power BI to the data tables in the reporting database server to create real-time visualizations. And Neil, can you please rephrase the second part of the question that this gentleman had?
What about the data accuracy? How many percent
yes.
can you guarantee to your customer?
Well, that's an interesting question, and also a very interesting problem to solve. Data accuracy is absolutely critical, but data accuracy is not the function of the Wenco FMS system alone. We do, however, have a number of business validation rules and checks within the Wenco system that allows you to focus on data accuracy. It generates a number of reports with linkages to exact what data is deemed to be suspect, for you to then go and fix it. Overall, I think, and it's a really good question, the importance of data accuracy in system like Wenco's, but in any mining system, it just adds to the value that your data can give you when you start asking questions to this data. So I haven't really been able to answer the question with a percentage number, which the gentleman was asking for. I think that is impossible. We do have mechanisms in the product that allow a user to investigate that data accuracy.
Okay. The next question is, what management strategy is being followed taking data as an asset?
Okay, I can take this one, Patrick. Basically, Wenco have seen data as a very important asset in the mining industry itself. I think the new oil is data. Mining your data and understanding your data is critical in making the informed and correct decisions. By focusing on data with current clients, we've actually been able to identify major opportunities and areas of improvement for the mine. And working closely with these customers, we've identified 2 or 3 aspects which we are focusing on through our Center of Excellence team, driving results and driving value for the client. It has been something I think that has been neglected over the last couple of years, where the endless amount of data that is available through your systems and the technology systems you have on the mine have not been used sufficiently. So it is an untapped resource. The strategy from Wenco, we understand the value of this data, and we want our customers to begin to use their data and get the value from understanding and interpreting their own data. Okay, I hope that covers it.
I just wanted to add, Warwick, that as we move into autonomous solutions, that this becomes a more and more critical topic.
Great. The next one is from Cam. Mining assets like Volvo, CAT, JCB, etc. have their own sensors, G-tracking, etc. How does Wenco's solution fit into these?
That's a great question. I will answer that. How we fit into these, that is up to I think up to the use case of the customer in question. What I do want to say is that Wenco thrives itself on its openness, its platform, its ability to be interoperable and integrate and work with other solutions. We've had a number of cases where we've had very successful collaborations between multiple parties to come to a customer success. We recently have developed an API for a mining house that interfaces with our assignment engine and wider FMS system. So Wenco is willing, able, and capable, and its platform open enough to work with a lot of other technologies out there that are capable of openness and interoperability through the use of APIs and international standards.
Okay, I can add to that as well, Patrick. With regards to the current solutions around Wenco FMS and ReadyLine, We have multiple OEM interfaces and connections which are available to connect to our various OEM vehicles and models. We currently interface into Caterpillar VIMs, into payload. We can look at the turbo pressure. We can pull information off the OEM manufacturer's own data, so we can read their protocols. And all that is taken in, digested, and given to the client in a data format which they can actually use to make decisions and analyze.
Okay, lots of questions coming in, so please do keep submitting. Our next one is a follow-up, and this question is directed to you, Warwick. Can smart operations help commercial coal mining with poor coal quality and uncertain demand scenario?
Well, if you look at smart mining, I mean, poor coal quality and the uncertain demand, definitely using smart mining and the systems, you can actually use it to, say, if you use the fleet maintenance correctly, you can actually reduce your trucks, reduce your equipment to move certain tonnage. The quality itself on the planning tool, you can plan to mine certain quality. You may have different grades in your mine in different sectors, so you can actually plan your mining plan and you can say integrate that into the system itself. For the demand in the industry, you can set up your forecasting and your planning with your mine plan to plan to mine certain volumes or certain tonnage per day. So as your uncertainty goes up or your demand increases, the system can actually do calculations and based on the demand, estimate how many trucks you would need with the initial trucks. If your demand drops, it'll estimate how many trucks you can potentially park, or maybe even park a shovel, depending on your mining process. Quality itself, that based on your ore body. Some people, and not just coal, on some other commodities, have different quality of ore. They like to blend the ore in pits or blend the crusher. We do have functionality which we can incorporate that data to offer you a solution. Patrick, I don't know if you have anything you can add.
No, and I think you touched upon it in your last remarks. It's the blending capabilities of the Wenco system and its dispatching algorithms that can really help mines with a lower quality coal to get the most optimal blends for their customers.
Yeah, I think also low quality coal, the cost of coal in the market, the commodity price is quite low. So you want to optimize your fleets and mine it the most effective and cheapest way possible.
Yeah.
You would like to mine the cheapest cost per ton, the safest way, and that's what the technology systems can offer you.
Yes, and this indicates probably a requirement from this customer to have an integration into its supply chain system. So that's where some of the ISO 95 standards that we talked about comes to fruition, with the ability to exchange messages to all of those systems along that supply chain.
Okay, Dev is asking, what parameters can be tracked while the dump truck is running to judge the driving skills of the drivers, particularly the fuel consumption?
Yeah, I can take this one. I think this gentleman is also referring to items such as operating for reliability. So all the sensors that are available on a piece of equipment should in principle be able to be tracked. As Warwick mentioned, we've established a great number of interfaces with OEM equipment already. And where we haven't, we're actively working with the OEM providers to establish these interfaces so we can access those sensors and obtain the information that a customer is seeking. The power that Wenco Redline has is that it also has the ability to create what's called virtual alarms. So you're able to combine the data of a sensor with another sensor and create a formula that might give you a KPI, which is indicative of how well an operator might be operating his equipment. And then you can refer them on to training or use it in its performance reviews, etc., etc.
I think touching on that, Patrick, specifically with the fuel, you said virtual alarms. As you build up a database, you'll be able to monitor truck types, operators to see which operators are driving which vehicles, monitor fuel burn. We also have options where we can tap into interfaces and measure events like frame torque, strut pressure. We've used it in some mines where we combine the frame torque and strut pressures, and when they go above certain limits, they are flagged and identified in a geographical location, and that we've used to identify poor road conditions. So there's many things you can do by using your data. Poor road conditions can lead to damaged tires, and we all know the cost of tires on mining vehicles. So something as small as that can offer value, which you may have not looked at before, by just understanding your data and how it can be used.
I think what is key to mention here as well, Warwick, is that the Wenco database is structured in such a way that we capture this data in a easy to access format. We capture it with a crew, a GPS position, operator name, time step, etc., etc. Where there are some solutions out there where it will generate a lot of overheads and some SQL wizardry to be able to connect those dots.
Okay, we just have time for a few more questions. This looks like Arup has a couple of quick ones. And he asks, do you have a presence in India?
Yes, we do. We actually work through a partner in India called Villiers, and we have done some potential some mine sites in India. We do have some case studies. One specifically, there is a video on LinkedIn with regards to Tata Steel, which we've been able to work with them, with our partner, to offer value to the client.
Okay, and his follow-up is it working in underground mines also?
I take this one. No, in this case, Wenco solutions are only for surface mining, but rest assured, we're always looking to expand our horizons and in our innovative mindset. But at this stage, we offer surface solutions only. Our technology is applicable to, such as Readyline, is very much applicable to underground mining.
Great, thanks, Patrick. Our last one comes from Henry. Talk about cost reduction. Do you have any experience with your customer? How many dump trucks can that reduce, maybe per km, if we are using this Wenco FMS system?
Yes, I can take this one. I know of a number of examples where through the effective use of technology by the people and the associated processes, that there's been a number of operations that have been able to stand down a large portion of their trucks. I think it is important to highlight, though, that is a combination of Wenco, the technology, Wenco as a support organization that helps the site unlock the value. It is never really Wenco alone as a light switch that you turn on and all of a sudden all these magical things happen, right? It's a combination of effort between Wenco as a provider and the customer to derive optimal value. Warwick, you got anything to add?
I think you touched on there, Patrick, and that was one of the major key drives we saw in the industry, and why we have set up a Centre of Excellence. We actually have brought on multiple mining engineers and technology experts so we can bridge the gap and assist our customers. The information is there. Our customers are seasoned miners who understand the mining process. We are trying to help them understand the data they have to improve their process. I also have some examples where we've actually recommended to some clients they had opportunity to park a shovel or using their current fleet to actually increase their production. So it's all depending on what you want to do, but our drive is to make sure that we improve the efficiencies and effectiveness of your current fleet and to assist you get the value from your investment. I think that's it, Patrick. I think you've covered most of it from a technical point of view.
All right, well,
I hope that answers the question, Neil.
Yes.
I hope it does. I hope it does. Thanks, Warwick and Patrick. That was very insightful. And that concludes our presentation. Many thanks to you guys, and a big thanks to our audience for taking the time to join us. We hope you enjoyed this session. Stay tuned for our upcoming webinars and have a wonderful day.